Hello my dear students, this is Dr. 𝗵𝗺𝗺, a biochemistry faculty. Well, in this video we are going to discuss about the fat soluble vitamins. Fat soluble vitamins, we all know that they are soluble in fats, or you can say their properties resemble to fats, and the basic property of fats is they are strictly non-polar in nature, and whenever anything is non-polar in nature they cannot move freely in circulation, right? So how they will move? They will always move like binding with the chylomicrons, or they will always require a carrier protein to be transported from one organ to another organ. Okay, so in this video we are going to discuss about vitamin D, which is known as a sunshine vitamin also, and vitamin E, which is known as vitamin in search of a disease, and both come under fat soluble vitamins. So vitamin D and vitamin E. Right. So first of all, the most important feature similar to both of them is they are fat soluble vitamins. Right. And obviously you can say कि transported by a protein. Now, if we talk about, first of all, let's take vitamin D and vitamin E separately because their functions are separate. So, vitamin D is also known as, the other name of vitamin D is sunshine vitamin. Right, that means it has some relation with the sun, and it is actually synthesized in the sun. और sun की UV rays are required for the synthesis of vitamin D, and it becomes the richest source and the major source of the synthesis, right? So we can say that vitamin D is synthesized basically in three main organs. One is the synthesis takes place in the skin. Rather, it starts from skin, then to the liver, and then finally to the kidneys, right? And coming over to this, if we talk about any vitamin, so we should know about the active form of this. So whenever we talk about the active form of vitamin D, it is calcitriol, or you can say active form is calcitriol, which is also known as 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol. So the full name of calcitriol is 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol. And just now I told you this is the hierarchy of the synthesis of vitamin D. So how? First of all, it is synthesized in the body. That is what we are going to discuss, because since it is a sunshine vitamin, this is the vitamin which is required for controlling the regulation of, you can say controlling the level of calcium and phosphorus in the body. And we know calcium and phosphorus both are required for the synthesis of the bones. So vitamin D, actually you can say indirectly it is helping in the bone formation also, right? So now what happens is we are taking vitamin D first of all from the diet. Okay, second is, now what happens is the first reaction is taking place in the skin. So what will happen? This cholecalciferol will be produced from 7-dehydrocholesterol. So skin say in the presence of those UV rays, 7-dehydrocholesterol is converted into cholecalciferol, right? On the other hand, diet se bhi we are taking this cholecalciferol. So what happens is this cholecalciferol, first of all, it binds with a protein, right? It is binding with a D-binding protein, which is basically a alpha globulin, right? And it will first of all go to the liver. I'll just repeat it again. What I am telling you, that vitamin D we are getting from the diet, and skin mein what is happening is 7-dehydrocholesterol is there. This in the presence of the sun rays is converted to form 𝗏𝗃calciferol. Now this 𝗏𝗃calciferol will, because I told you it's a fat soluble vitamin, it will bind with a D binding protein DBP, and it will first of all enter the liver. Now the moment this enters in the liver, it undergoes first hydroxylation, because liver has 25 alpha hydroxylase. So this 𝗏𝗃calciferol will form 25 hydroxylase, 25 hydroxy 𝗏𝗃calciferol. Right. Now this, the third one is the kidneys. The moment it enters the kidneys, here 1-alpha hydroxylase is present. In the kidneys, this enzyme is present, 1-alpha hydroxylase. So what will happen is, here second hydroxylation will occur and 125-dihydroxy 𝗏𝗃calciferol will be produced, which is nothing but vitamin D, or it is also known as calcitriol, because the other name of calcitriol is 125-dihydroxy 𝗏𝗃calciferol. So always remember, see, if we talk about the diet se we are getting 𝗏𝗃calciferol, skin se we are getting 𝗏𝗃calciferol by obviously 7-dehydrocholesterol. First of all, it will be with the help of D-binding protein enter inside the liver, where it will undergo first hydroxylation at 25th position, then it will enter in the kidneys, hydroxylating at first position. Now what happens is, this calcitriol now is going to exert in its function in 3 major organs. It acts on the intestines, it acts on the bones, and it acts on the kidneys. Very, very important. So these are the 3 main organs where vitamin D is exerting its function. Okay. Now another important point about this is, this 1-alpha hydroxylase is always activated by parathyroid hormone. Very, very important. Because I told you vitamin D, the main role is that it helps in regulating the calcium and phosphorus metabolism. How it regulates calcium and phosphorus metabolism? This is one step in that, कि PTH will always accelerate 1-alpha hydroxylase, right? And we know that PTH, parathyroid hormone, and calcitonin, they are antagonistic with respect to one another. So overall, if we see the difference between vitamin D, PTH and calcitonin, it is basically related to calcium and phosphorus levels only. So first of all, let's just visualize the difference. So if I talk about vitamin D, right, PTH and calcitonin. So always remember, vitamin D releases increases the concentration of calcium. It increases the level of phosphorus also in the blood, right? If we talk about PTH, parathyroid hormone, it will always increase the level of calcium, but it will decrease the level of phosphorus in the blood. Right? And if we talk about calcitonin, it will always decrease the concentration of calcium in blood. So, we all know that there are antagonistic hormones also present in the body. If one is increasing, there has to be some other one which will decrease it. So, it's like this is the basic difference between vitamin D, PTH and calcitonin. And how it increases, obviously how calcium concentration increases, because it will prevent the excretion and it will increase the reabsorption of calcium in the intestines, very important, in the kidneys. Okay. Regarding the bones, obviously osteoclasts are there, osteoblasts are there. So, depending upon the level of this, demineralization and mineralization will take place. Okay, with the help of other proteins also being a fat soluble vitamin. So, now the question is how this vitamin D is raising. So, I can say that simple hierarchy is there if calcium level decreases. What will happen? If there is decreased concentration of calcium, immediately PTH will be released. What is the function of PTH? PTH is going to activate 1-alpha-hydroxylase. Now, one thing I just want to tell you here is most of the students get confused between 1-alpha and 7-alpha-hydroxylase. Always keep one thing in mind. 1-alpha-hydroxylase is always for calcium, or you can say vitamin D, and 7-alpha-hydroxylase is for the formation of bile acids. 7-alpha-hydroxylase is the rate limiting enzyme of bile acid synthesis, whereas 1-alpha-hydroxylase is the rate limiting enzyme, you can say it is a rate limiting enzyme also of vitamin D. It's a rate limiting enzyme also. Now, when 1-alpha-hydroxylase increases, obviously there is increased concentration of calcium and there is thereby calcium level rises. So, this is very, very important, and this is like in a synchronous way. You can see that decreased calcium level, release of PTH, activation of 1-alpha-hydroxylase and increased level of calcium. Now, whenever we talk about the action on intestines, because I told you vitamin D, whenever it is produced, it will act on three main organs. One is the intestine, second is the bones, third are the kidneys. So, if we talk about its action on the intestines, how it will work? It will simply take the help of cal-bindin protein. And how it is going to occur, say this is the blood, this is the lumen, intestine. So, what will happen is, what is the role of vitamin D on the intestines? This is the blood, say this is the intestine, this is the lumen. So, what happens here is, this vitamin D obviously will be released. This is the receptor. So, what will happen is, say this receptor will trigger. It will trigger what? It is going to trigger cal-bindin protein. Right, cal-binding protein, and it will interfere with obviously the genetic expression, because here we are talking about again DNA and RNA. So, what will happen? It will lead to increased absorption of this calcium. Okay, very important. This is how vitamin D is going to function in the intestines. So, here we can say cal-bindin is the protein. So, I can say that since vitamin D, as you can see, DNA and RNA are involved, So vitamin D can also be referred to as prohormone. Very important. Right. Now here, as I told you, that whenever there is a decreased concentration of calcium, PTH is released, thereby maintaining the level of calcium. Up phosphorus mein there is a reverse thing, but if you see this table also, in this table you see the moment vitamin D is released, it is increasing the concentration of both. Whereas if PTH is increasing, PTH is only increasing the concentration of calcium, not phosphorus. So always remember, whenever there is decreased concentration of phosphorus, what will happen is it is going to again accelerate vitamin D so that the concentration of phosphorus will increase. Because PTH will always try to bring the level of phosphorus down. Okay. Then this is, you can say, the action on the intestines. And if we talk about the second one, action on the kidneys, always remember, if we talk about the kidneys, vitamin D always promotes two functions. How they increase the level of calcium? Ek to by minimizing excretion, minimize the excretion of calcium and maximize the reabsorption. Maximize the reabsorption of calcium, very, very important. Right. And then if we talk about the bones, bones may again we know that osteoclasts are there, osteoblasts are there. So depending upon this, osteoclasts and osteoblasts. So depending upon the level of the calcium, they will be acting. So if the level of calcium is low, then obviously demineralization of the bones will occur, releasing calcium into the blood, thereby increasing this thing. And if it is high, it will lead to deposition of this or mineralization. So I can say that mineralization and demineralization will help in making the level of calcium normal. So this is what is the role of vitamin D in the intestines, in the bones and in the kidneys. And always remember, vitamin D will always increase the concentration of calcium and the concentration of phosphorus. And this is what is the biochemical function. Then sometimes what happens is ki if vitamin D is not used by the body, because you can say that if vitamin D is not being used by the body, it will be converted into calcitriol. Okay. Because vitamin D is this 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol. So if it is not used, it will be converted into 24,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol, which is also known as calcitriol. Right? So this is another important feature of vitamin D. Then we come over to the biochemical manifestations or deficiency manifestations. Now what happens here is, since vitamin D is required for bone formation also, it leads to rickets in children and osteomalacia in adults. Malacia in adults. There are so many different types of rickets depending upon the level of calcium and phosphates, but here we will be just discussing about one thing, that basically what happens in rickets in children, it leads to rachitic rosary, which is totally different from scorbutic rosary, which is due to the deficiency of vitamin C. Second is it leads to knock knees and bow legs, right, and then this leads to pigeon-like chest, Okay, on the other hand, in adults, if there is a deficiency of vitamin D, it will lead to, the body becomes more prone to fractures, so fracture prone. And sometimes, the pelvic bone also becomes so soft, it becomes so liable to fractures that the movement also, you can say the gait also changes, and it is known as waddling gait. It leads to waddling gait, softening of the bones, right. So this is osteomalacia in adults, and these are the main biochemical manifestations of vitamin D, also known as sunshine vitamin. And sometimes it is said that people who have if we talk about in Muslim countries where the ladies are all the time wearing burqas, they are more prone to vitamin D deficiency. So there the requirement of vitamin D increases, because I told you basically the synthesis only starts from the skin, leading to the liver, and then finally the final reaction takes place in the kidneys because the rate limiting enzyme is present there. So obviously requirement will be more in that. And whenever the age is also say after 40s, you can say the women who are going towards menopause also, they are also more prone to deficiency of vitamin D. So they are having those calcitriol sachets in water, right. So this is vitamin D, which is a fat soluble vitamin. Then after this, then we come over to the next one, vitamin E. Now see, vitamin E, we actually call this vitamin as in search of a disease. Now why? Because this is first of all a very, very important antioxidant, first thing, okay. If we talk about any antioxidant, so we can say that so many diseases can be caused if vitamin E is deficient from the diet, because antioxidants are the ones which are preventing the formation of the free radicals, but no specific disease will be caused by this, okay. So first of all, vitamin in search of a disease, and second is the most important point, it is the most potent chain breaking antioxidant. It is the most potent chain breaking antioxidant, because antioxidants are of two types, preventable, chain breaking, that this is the most potent one, okay. And if I talk about the structure of vitamin E, it has a very typical type of structure. Just show you the structure is there. This is the structure of vitamin E. You can see that it has this oxygen in it, which is giving it a antioxidant nature. Right, now coming over to the functions, as I have already mentioned, it is an antioxidant, and one very important thing about this is selenium. We know that selenium is a very, very important trace mineral, which is the most important antioxidant also. So sometimes we say that selenium has a inversely proportional, you can say a kind of sparing action in vitamin E. So if we start taking selenium, so it can somewhat decrease the consumption of vitamin E. So I can say that selenium has a relationship with vitamin E, because both of them are antioxidants. Relationship with vitamin E. Now coming over to the functions. Functions is, again, if we talk about antioxidants, so many important functions are there. We can call it as an anti-aging vitamin also. First is anti-aging. Vitamin E is generally used as in the form of a capsule whenever we go to the parlors and all. We can get these capsules in the market as it is also if we apply this. So, because it is again having antioxidants, so it is good. Then it prevents the peroxidation of the fatty acids. Of the fatty acids. So basically, since it is preventing peroxidation, so it will prevent fats from being rancid. Very important, rancid. And then it can protect us from CVDs and CADs. Protection. Right. So these are some of the functions of vitamin E. Then if we talk about the biochemical manifestations, because since again it is used as an antioxidant, there are so many functions which can be due to this. So if we talk about, it can lead to peripheral neuropathy, right. Then it can lead to hemolytic anemia also. Then it can lead to spinocerebellar ataxia, and to some extent it is given that it might lead to sterility also, because it plays an important role in reproduction also. So these are some of the biochemical manifestations or the deficiency manifestations of vitamin E. But the most important point which we have to remember about vitamin E is it is the most important chain breaking antioxidant. Very, very important, right. And this one point explains the entire function of vitamin E. So these are the fat soluble vitamins, vitamin D and vitamin E. So I hope this video is also clear to all of you. Thank you so much.